After a refreshment, shall we start the second panelist talks? I'd like to invite the panelists and the moderator, Khun Rosalind Yunibandju, to the floor ครับ for the session ครับ thank you ครับ
So good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to panel 2 of the CMMU ASEAN Sustainability Forum 2024. I'm Rosalind Yunibandju, and I'm a PhD scholar in sustainable leadership here at CMMU. I'm very honored to moderate today's discussion on the key organizational challenges industries face in transitioning to sustainable practices and how challenges can be addressed to support circular economy and resilience. So we're privileged to have with us today 4 distinguished guests. So first of all, I'd like to invite Khun Kitiya Santaveesuk, who is Head of Sustainability at Thai Beverage Can. Welcome. Please take a microphone as well. We also have with us Khun Rajdev Narula, Chief Executive Officer of Malee Group. We have Khun Waewkanee Assoratgoon, who is an ACSDSD scholar and PhD candidate in sustainable leadership. And finally, we have Khun Narong Kongpiwatana, ACSDSD scholar and PhD candidate in sustainable leadership at CMMU. So welcome to all, and thank you so much for joining us today. So, before we dive deep into the discussions, I'd first like to introduce our 2 ACSDSD scholars, Khun Waewkanee and Khun Narong. First of all, Khun Waewkanee, could you share with us a little bit about your background and how it came to be that you're pursuing a PhD and your research interest?
Yes, I'm not sure if it's the best decision I made because it's quite challenging. Okay, so I started my career at P&G, and that's why I know many people here. And then I went on to work with Yum Restaurants International in Thailand for 20 years. And in case you're not aware, Yum Restaurants is the largest restaurant company in the world with brands like KFC, Pizza Hut, Taco Bell, and last they added Habit Burgers Grill. Okay, and during my 20 years, my last position was the managing director of Yum Thailand. I made so many successful transformations that I'm proud of, like quick service operations, digitalization, and transitioning the business model to 100% franchise. But at the time when I started on sustainability transformation, I was already a senior managing director. And I found that the transformation to sustainability was the hardest. And why? Because, and this goes to where I pinpoint my study eventually, is like imagine the CEO in the meeting room, you need to decide on sustainability projects. The decision making was so hard because a lot of times you don't have complete information. When you talk about sustainability, you think about long-term impact and you can't quantify it. Your staff cannot quantify it for you. And your boss does not necessarily agree with how you look at the benefits. And then sometimes you deal with something that is not existing before. You have to imagine, right? So that's the challenge. But anyhow, during my time, the last 2 years, I kind of like persevered and pushed the team. And this is a key also, that I pushed the team to work together, and we launched what we call the Holistic Sustainability KFC Restaurant. It's kind of like antithesis that KFC want to be holistically sustainable, but we did it, and that restaurant won the World Award of KFC. But then I found that not everyone in the organization bought into that concept or even was engaged, and hence that kind of like triggered me to think about after I retired at 55, maybe I want to study more into how to make sustainability transformation more like doable, especially for companies, listed companies, that they the responsibility is so clear that first and foremost has to be to the shareholders. Yeah, and that's why I pursue this even more challenging path.
Thank you very much, Khun Waewkanee, and it is a very worthy task. Even in our previous panel, there was mention of mindsets and working from the inside out. So, beginning to look at people and their role in transformation, I think is a very, very important one. Thank you very much. And Khun Narong, may I ask the same question to you? What was your background and motivation and in area?
Yes, I retired last year in 2023 after 15 years service with SoCal Edison, a subsidiary of Edison International. We are a utility firm that serves to over 14 million residents in Southern California. Our priority has always been safety, resilience, and also cost, especially cost. A lot of our solution based on being cost efficient, because we want to make sure we serve all residents, including residents with limited means. Until recent years, that the organization has shifted priority, and our priority now is to include sustainability, and sustainability in the sense of environmental sustainability, because the organization is being impacted by climate change. Some of you might be aware that in the state of California impact quite heavily on due to Wi-Fi, and all utility, no exceptions, is going through transformation to make sure that their facility is not only sustainable but resilient, so that we can continue to maintain our facility and services to our consumer. With this quick change, put a lot of pressure on our associate, because they don't have the knowledge, the skill set, and the mindsets to be able to help us transform. And that's part of brought me here to help identify what can we do to prepare the next generation, especially many of our associates are engineers. So my background is engineer. So I want to find out as what can we do in the education system to help transform and prepare the next generation of a professional to be knowledgeable, to be skillful, and also to have mindset of what could be the possibility. I think one of the guests will talk about that. And just to add to that is that sustainability is not an easy concept. And I think it needs to be instilled with the knowledge base that the next generation should be receiving through education. So that's brought me here.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Khun Narong. For sure, we are living in much more complex times, and this will certainly require complex skills and knowledge as well. So thank you for the summary there. We'd be really interested to see later how your research and ideas may inform some of the practice that our external panelists will be sharing with us. So it's now my pleasure to introduce our panelists, each of whom brings a wealth of experience and leadership in advancing sustainability in their own organizations. I think to begin with, each panelist is going to share a 5-minute presentation, beginning with Khun Kitiya. And Khun Kitiya, we would love to know more about your company, your sustainability goals, and your role in that. Thank you.
Right. Thank you, Rose.
Ka.
So, first of all, I'm ready to say, I'm not very good in English, okay? You guys just have to patient about my English. So, and I talked to Khun Pum so many times that why I'm here today. So anyway, I just would like to, share what we are doing, okay? So actually we are, we are private sector, of course. We are making for the aluminum can. This is one of my customers right here. So our vision, all right, if you see some of the, slides on. Our vision for the sustainability, actually we want to be the strong commitment to the ESG. And I don't want to lecture about what the ESG is right here. ESG principle is hit into our company. It's not only a company, but it's our society more and more and more. So, and actually, our vision is want to be the most of the sustainable beverage packaging in Southeast Asia. Why we talk about this? You know, in reality, we are business. We have to answer what is a business, what is an environment and social. That's the way. And you look more in the strategy division and goals. So, for example, for environment, we have CE, circular economy, climate transition, operational excellence. For you know, social responsibility, we focus on the human right equity, of course, and we very strong support to the Possessive Foundation through on the artificial lake, and consumer also our employee awareness. G, governance. Most of the time we talk about C. What is our governance? We pursue ourselves. The government could be the right thing, the real thing, specific research, or you know, how to make proof ourselves, not you know, search in the internet what we are, but you have to know ourselves itself, is it true or real. So we spend you know, the transparency, some of a lot of money to have a research, not only for us, but you know, in the other packaging as well, to know what we are and how we tackle you know, for the next few years. And which is very important, like Khun Narong said, science-based is very important for our perspective in the sustainability. It is not the marketing side, but is you have to know what it is you are first, all right? So, and the next, we transform, you know, what is ESG to be our sustainability goal. You can see, you know, the two dimension of the blue size and the orange size. This is, you know, we develop our long-term framework and the objective toward for the sustainability, which is, you know, two key strategy: product stewardship. It means we are trying to responsible our product, which is have a 5 dimension, and the social impact or social responsibility. We do, you know, over the past 3 years since 2021, and our name is TBCSG 2030. And we translate, you know, to the, what we call in our company is 9 angle, but angel is the same. It is kind of like a 9 angel, you know, 5 area initiative, right? So if you see, you know, each of the initiative start from supporting EPR, you know, circular economy, supporting the carbon direct reduction or climate change, and support is a specific area. How can our aluminum can, or this one of the single packaging, can prove ourselves for some specific area? This is kind of like we are networking to the you know, the government, NGO, and more than that. Life cycle assessment. Like I told you before, just a moment ago, that we talk about the aluminum can. We know ourselves only, and we have to do and compare for another packaging as well. What is pro, what is con, all right? And of course, for the social, so we have the projects, say, Recycle for Life, all right? So, and I would like to talk more about what we are. This is our life. Our life, we cannot say, you know, how can I say, it's like we starting from mining. And you guys know, everyone know, the mining is huge problem for the making carbon footprint. So this is, we know ourselves. But the challenge is how to make from the mining and go back you know, to the product more and more and more again, because we are from mono raw material. That's the way that we have proved ourselves, and how to prove that. And you can see, you know, some of a lot of information in internet. We are 100% recycle. What does it mean? The 100% recycle is come back can to can again or not? And is this no lost property? Is this true or not? So why, when you know what, one of the can, if you see one of the can, you know, on your hand, believe it or not, it is the value. I mean, you can sell this one scrap 50 satang, 50 satang per can. Maybe don't more than that because it's 1 kilogram. This is a value for the recycle. So it means we try to tackle about it and prove ourselves. We write down minus 95% energy use. This came from the frame of brew. If you see the frame of brew, if we can do stop or less to produce from the virgin grade or the primary grade, so that we do from the scrap over and over and over. Thank God that right now we have like a 30%, now 33% for last year already recycled content, and we hope we're gonna reach like 35% within 2030. So and we can lower or less the carbon for 30 times from the virgin grade. This is our proof point. After I start this one from the beginning, I try to talk with our network. The first thing our challenge is the EPR. Our challenge, another thing, is the circular economy and also the carbon tax. I believe we are one of the extreme company to pay for the carbon tax for the next few years. But if we can do what is the ratio, how to reduction the carbon tax more and more and more and more for the next few years. So this is one of the proof point. I prove our company, not only our company, but all the can maker in Thailand. First thing, we connect with TBR, which is our collection program, and go through this is all the industry to make our customer say, oh, if we connect with this program, our customer can have the 100% correction to recycle by the weight. This is proof already. So, and we buy by ourselves and do everything by ourselves. So,
yeah,
all right.
Perfect moment, Kat. Perfect segue into.
There you see my eyes all the time. Okay, I will stop my first part about that, and yeah.
No, thank you so much, and thank you for sharing with us the detail of your achievements. Because as we heard from the earlier panel, it's not easy to do this. So in achieving these great achievements already at this stage, it must mean that you've gone through a lot to get here. So we'll come back to that in just a moment. But next we'll have a quick presentation from Khun Dev as well on Malee and sustainability at Malee.
Yeah, so thank you for having me here. I think Khun Pum started quite well saying when the CEO has to make a decision on each of these parts of sustainability, we have shareholders that we are answering to, the board, but we also have employees and we have consumers. So that's the whole challenge that emits in front of us. The second part to it is when I ask everyone, should we be working on sustainability? 100% yes. But there's no meeting without an agenda where people start talking about sustainability if it's not in the agenda, right? So they look at it as one additional work, one additional task. Yeah, but what's the benefit for me, right? And that's the starting point when we talk about the reality of sustainability. Now, before I talk a bit more about that, I'll try to speak as fast as I see as an example because of the time, right? A bit about Malee first. We have 4 parts of our business, right? The brand business, which is Malee products, the fruit juices and so on. I'll talk more. OEM business that we do for many brands, global MNCs and local as well. We have a dairy farm as well with about 1,500 cows. We have Malee Applied Science, which is a deep tech research business unit on biotech and nanotech, as well as about waste recycling research, which I'll touch a bit. Yeah, and those are our products, from juices, coconut water, vegetable juices, fruit cans, farm Chokchai milk. These are products as well. One of the fastest growing product in the last 1 year is coconut water. We have doubled the market, but we have actually doubled ourselves as well. These are the 3 factories we have in Sampran, Pak Chong, and in Ho Chi Minh as well. Take a look at the picture of these factories that you see now and see the roof, and it will change in the later part when there's solar panel on top, because this is a little bit 2 years, 3 years old. This is our farm, and we have quite a large space for the farm as well. Malee Applied Science, I talked about, 20% of the work done is biotech and 70% nanotech. 10% is in upcycle and value chain utilization, which is related to all the fruits and vegetables that comes to our factory as well. And also we work with the farmers as well, and the middlemen, so that there is an end-to-end study about how we can maximize and almost remove to zero waste where possible. We currently have in Malee Applied Science some work being done where we are using the peel of the fruits, which is normally thrown away. We are working with a partner to extract certain ingredients out of the peel where normally we can't consume, but we will be able to extract it and later put in the product back, where it can increase the benefit to the consumer. And just a quick example, we have orange juices, and some types of orange juice have more hesperidine than the others. Hesperidine actually can help regulate better heart and cholesterol. A lot of people don't know. In fact, a good level of it can even help regulate the amount of sugar entering your body as much as it's needed, and the rest doesn't enter, right? Which means it's not a problem whether it's sweet or not. But then the maximum amount of hesperidine actually is found in the orange peel, which we can't consume. So we have to extract that out and try to find a way to get it back to consumer. Now, in Thailand, a little bit challenging because we can't put that into the juice and deliver it because FDA doesn't allow it. I have to do it through supplements, right? So here's another challenge where regulatory and the possibility of knowledge doesn't connect, and that can help reduce waste, right? Allowing us to use the whole value chain of the fruits. Similarly to coconut. And just for a laugh a bit, I think there was a time where Malee Applied Science went a little bit in the wrong direction, where they used the coconut shell, which is normally a waste, and then they went into a study, came back with an innovation that I had to shut down because they said we can do bulletproof jacket from it. I said wrong direction. Right? Because the shareholder will not talk that with us, right? So again, that's why the part of direction and vision is very important, and the purpose of the company as well. Yeah. So, and when I said sustainability, people don't connect with, but the moment we talk about ESG and we bring all the dimensions together, people start to connect the dot better, right? Because we may start with environment, but when we go down to governance, it talks about fair treatment of employee. It talks about delivering the promise to consumer. It talks about how we combine what we want to do and look at the picture holistically. And then suddenly the whole innovation thinking starts come to play. Now, let me admit first, we are still at a very kindergarten stage, right? This is only an ambition that we start off with, right? But with the purpose of helping people become healthier and happier through the power of plant and dairy. When we use the word people, we actually purposely changed it from consumer to people, because people means we are answering to the consumer, to the retailer, to the employee, but also to people's happiness as a planet. Wonderful. And that is supposed to be part of the purpose itself, to cover the thinking from the start, right?
Thank you.
I'll touch about the culture very quickly. Which is important, but I won't talk about it now. I'll keep it for later. But I will just show an example of the carbon emission through the years per hour production metric ton. It has reduced every year. And that's the promise that we talk to our people about every time we are growing our business, but the carbon emission has to reduce per metric ton. And there are ways we have to work on it. And I'll talk about it a little bit later. Let me stop here now for now.
Great, thank you so much. All right, so ending on that note about people versus consumers, I think was a really powerful one, and I think it's something that we'll touch on in discussions with Khun and Khun Narong as well. So right now, what I'd like to do is to ask each of you to share, Khun Kitiya, if you could share very briefly one of the most key challenges you've had to face in taking your business towards sustainability. And Khun Dev, I'd like you to think about an opportunity that you've discovered, because sustainability is not just about challenge. We always get bogged down by, oh no, there's more regulation, there's risks, there's disruption. But actually the flip side of that is opportunity. So I'd love for Khun Dev to share with us what he sees as opportunities. And I would like in your sharing for Khun Waewkanee and Khun Narong to reflect back what their research has found that can either support the overcoming of these challenges or support the further capture of these opportunities. So very briefly, Khun Kitiya, what's one of the core challenges you've experienced as you've taken your organization in this direction?
All right. So can I have just only one
Khun
slide?
Kitiya's slides. Thank you.
For me, I'm a worker. One thing after actually I came from the marketing side. From the beginning, I asked my boss, "Are you demote me? Are you demote me from 3-4 years already?" So, but after I worked for more and more, this is I really think through like very important. If you have a 3 angle of that. One, first, we talk more about the word of resilient. What does resilient mean? You have to stay whenever you have an obstacle, whenever you have to any problem of that. It's kind of like we passed through the COVID already. That's resilient. I think you guys know more than me, maybe. So it's not maybe, it could be. But I want to let you guys see the middle of the chart. Endurance. I learned a lot from this word. What is the endurance? Think through when you like to run, right? And you like, how many kilometers you like to run? 20? 40? Only 10. Oh my God, my friend. So that's the endurance. What does endurance mean? You have to practice. You have to learn. You have to get knowledge. You have to ask supporting. You have to do everything for your endurance. This is very important. And you determine yourselves what is your goal. And goal can move for the next goal all the time. What is the goal came from? Boss. What does the goal come from? Your staff, your support, your family. So it's all the goal. This is, I'm not saying it's a challenge, it's a still challenge. Challenge can be turned to the opportunity. But if you think through, hey, you have a passion on that, you have to pay yourself for that and prove yourself for every single minute. I want to take it. Endurance. That's the key.
Wonderful, thank you. So maybe I'll throw it over to Khun Bum and Khun Narong at this point. From your perspective of culture and transformation and also competencies and pedagogy, what are your reflections on these qualities of resilience, endurance, and determination? And are there any other factors to consider as well?
How do I respond to that? Okay. I start from what I'm looking at for my PhD study. And for anyone interested in PhD study, Ajahn Suksan said we need to create new knowledge, and it's not easy to find the knowledge that has not been created. So, so my topic is organizational culture, right? And the previous panel, and then Khun Dev, Khun Noi talk about actually sustainability in business. It's like, how do you balance conflicting goals? And to do that, you need a shared belief within the organization to take everyone with you. And to do that, you need a leader that is very proactive to lead with resilience, endurance, and determination. My reaction to this, and related to my PhD research, is how do leaders get there in the first place? Do you wake up one morning and think, I have a sense of purpose to do sustainability, to care for business, to make my business care for things that are broader than what are usually the stakeholders, like the community, even where my business is not there, or the broader society, or the environment. I mean, I think this is very hard. So I'm taking like the organizational culture model, which starts with assumption at the bottom, the values in the top, and then the behavior that people see. So as an example, if we want to see people behave in a way that is resilient, enduring, and with endurance and determination in the organization, what kind of assumptions do people need to have in order for them to think and behave like that? Yeah. And that is very challenging. Yeah. And I want to make sure that it applies to all religions. As Khun Chris says, that he's taking SCP, and it originally very strongly associated with Buddhism, but actually we're seeing this from sustainability leaders that are from Islam religion. Yeah. So I'm hoping to find that Holy Grail. And finally, to help answer to business people. Why? Because when I retire, I had to find my bench. Who would become the managing director or the CEO that would carry the same torch? But I had no idea how to know that that person will have the same assumptions, values, and beliefs that I do. It's very hard. It's very hard to find. Yeah.
Wow, that is a very worthy area of research, and I'm sure very challenging. You know, as you can see, there's this emerging theme that we have to go beyond what we see, and we need to go deeper inside, but right down to the assumptions with which we view reality. It gets that deep. So thank you very much, Khun, for raising that. Khun Narong ka?
Yes, I want to share a different side. I think a lot of us talk about organization and the vision, the culture of the organization, but also we want to make sure we don't leave people behind. And that's part of my research in terms of how to prepare the next generation with the skill set, mindset, and also the knowledge to be able to help us transform to towards sustainability. And my area is more in engineering because of where I came from. And my question that I brought with me is, what are the essential competency that we need to instill for the next generation? I think a lot of you talk about system thinking, design thinking, social responsibility, and things like that. Including with that is we now working closely with machine. So that part of the basic understanding and question that I'm trying to understand is that how do we work closely with machine to produce the new knowledge, to collaborate, to be able to make us become more resilient and sustainable. And that's part of what I'm looking at. What is the essential competency that we need to instill for the next generation? Second part of it is how do we teach and learn sustainability? Is this not the classical way of learning and then look at the back of the book and try to problem solve? Because sustainability is a wicked problem. It's quite ill-defined, multifaceted with different value. We need to have a different way of teaching and learning. So that's the second part that I'm trying to find out past my research. Third is how we evaluate competency, not just teach and learn, but how do we know the group of students learn what we try to teach them and be able to produce new knowledge going forward. And that's all what I'm working on as part of my program of research. But I also think that whatever recommendation I produce, it will take time to implement, especially in a traditional education sense. Based on my research, education system can take years and decades to transform, especially we have a lot of regulatory requirement as well as accreditation. So I also look at another body of knowledge called micro-credential. It is a just-in-time, bite-size, and competency-based to be able to bring, to upskill and reskill this generation of workers to be knowledgeable, skillful, and with the mindset of sustainability. Based on my research also is that saying that micro-credential could be just a ticket for us to help us go over the hump, especially we have a lot of professionals here today that might not be ready now, and we can help them get ready without having to go through 4 years of college. The last part, I'm going to wrap it up very quickly, is that I also spent this summer working on a DEI project, which is diversity, equity, and inclusion, in terms of provide accessibility to engineering education. Accessibility defined as provide implement education in certain way that is easily consumable and ready now for learner with disability. My goal and my aim is to bring awareness of this accessibility, but also to make sure that we create a seat at the table to allow all learners to be there, because sustainability is a complex issue and we cannot do it alone. And we need to provide accessibility education to students with disability, and they should be part of the solution, not just a problem for us to solve.
Right.
So I think those are 3 things that keep me up at night, and I'm working on them as part of my research. Yes.
Yeah,สู้ๆค่ะ. So, you know, as Khun Kitiya has highlighted, these qualities of resilience, endurance, determination, and many others that Khun Narong is researching right now are not simple matters. How do you teach somebody to be resilient? You be resilient. You know, how do you create the pedagogies to actually not only teach it, transfer it, and also spread it and transform organizations through it? So let's cheer up a bit and think a little bit about opportunities.
Can I get my slide up as well?
Sure.
Yeah. While it's coming up, if you remember, I talked about the purpose of the company, and I'll just go back a bit to the part where, now, where did we move forward from here? I think the starting point before going to opportunity is, you know, there's a concept of we know what we know what we don't know, and then we don't know what we don't know, right? And usually what we don't know should be the biggest part of our mindset, right? And that's the biggest challenge, where a lot of people close their path to that. Now, when we talk about helping people, everyone defines it so differently. And then when we moved into the defining first phase of the culture, and this is part of the work that we did with our team, not just the management team, but the people below that as well, right? We talk about the Malee top 3 culture, which we are in the process of trying to drive the transformation. I want to touch about the team up to win commercially. I think is straightforward. It also means that every function has to be involved, because it's not about winning externally alone. It's winning commercially, right? Whether it's lowest cost, whether it's better profit, whatsoever. Ownership mindset. That's one of the big part of what we are trying to do. Making people make a decision as if this is their own company, this is their own money, this is their own resource, this is their own time. But then to be able to do that well, and the third pillar is so important for them to understand, purposeful leadership, whereby bringing our promise to everyone we promise through that purpose. What does it mean, right? And it's not just about profit, but it's also about giving the promise of the purpose. Now, when they understand that, it changes the game on how certain results come up that I also didn't know could be possible. And I'll show this slide. You know, if you look at this slide, I want to show, you see there's 2 pictures where you see the furnace. That's the furnace on top of our factory. Actually, it's a video, but I can't play it at the moment. On one of them, we'll show the black smoke coming out every morning when it starts, right? But then when we talk about the culture transformation, and we want people to say, there will be culture awards, you know, but we want you to go and figure out what's possible. So when people look at this and say, that black smoke can't be good. Okay, but how do we remove that black smoke, right? And the engineer said, yeah, but we can't go and increase cost as well, right? You know, nobody will approve you if you want to increase cost. So they actually went and read a lot about it. And then they came back with the knowledge saying that actually we use grade C oil in running it because it's the cheapest. But then there's studies saying that if you use grade A, the amount of pollution reduces and the output that you achieve per liter is higher. So they came and presented and said, can we do a pilot? I said, yeah, why not? We'll spend more first. Let's measure the result over 3 months. And after 3 months, what we learned is the usage of the oil actually reduces. So you're paying more for liter per liter, but you actually use less amount and the environment and air is cleaner. I think that's what we call helping people becoming healthier and happier every day, right? And that's an example whereby sustainability, when we talk as ESG as a group, it doesn't mean everything has to be more expensive, right? And there are simple examples that you can see in this picture where on the first picture, before and after, actually it's about sometimes when you use certain electronics for too long, your cost of electricity go up, right? And then you're consuming more. But then when you change it at the right time, your efficiency goes up and there's an ROI that comes back to it as well. So sometimes trying to overextend doesn't mean it's good. But then again, it's the knowledge. And that's why we talk a lot in the company about the knowledge of what we know and the knowledge of what we don't know. Because there's a wealth of knowledge that we don't know on how we can further improve sustainability. And I learn it every day, every month. Sometimes I'm here on this forum, I've heard a lot of stuff which makes me question about, oh, we installed a solar panel. Oh, what's going to happen after 20 years? Now, I give you one example on that point where before we signed that last year, I did ask this question, what happens after 20 years? I said, it becomes yours. I said, yeah, but if you don't want it, yeah, it's yours. No, I want it in the contract that you may have to remove it and take it back and find a solution for it. It should not mean it's our responsibility. It's not my expertise on how to take it out and dismantle it and take it away and put it at the right point. So we forced it into the contract for last year. And that's how it starts to beg the question. But then what I didn't think about in the contract further is where does it go after they take it?
Well, now you have a knowledge of possibility from today. So yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. You know, you've mentioned this term knowledge of possibility, and we've all kind of caught on to it. And it speaks to two levels of knowledge. One is actual cognitive knowledge, but then also knowledge, the ability to have the knowledge that of things we don't know, which is almost a mindset shift. So at this point, we only have, I think, 3 minutes left. So maybe a brief reflection from each of you on this kind of experience and opportunity that Khun Dev discovered, and then we'll tie it up.
Okay, I think the theme of this forum is about circular economy, help leading us to resilience. And I think from the beginning until now, we're seeing knowledge, collaboration, innovation, and also it comes from the leaders, and the leader has to figure out how to get it through the organization with the organizational culture. Yeah, so that's my take.
Thank you so much. Khun Narong.
My reflections is going to be partnership, I think. Both from the industry side and academic side, we need to work hand in hand because sustainability is a wicked problem. We need the research to support practical to provide information to the research so that we can solve this problem altogether. Second part is I enjoy diversity of thought from all part because we cannot we see different sides of sustainability, and for us all to be together to share this diversity of thought allow us to hopefully become more educated and hopefully help us all solve or take away some information and solve problem locally, and hopefully bring it back to share and learn from it. So I think that diversity of thought is quite important and reflection on this discussion. So
Wonderful, thank you. And Khun Kitiya and Khun Dev, any final comments on
Right.
today's discussions?
Yeah, Khun Rose, thank you. So can I have a last slide for my part, please? I prepare this one, you know. Actually, you guys is very important, you know. We have to, both of us, understand what is the theory to work. But one thing I want to share you this one. So on the worker way, that's why I like to say I'm a worker, because I'm work with kind of like a shop floor for everything. You have to think through, is this what they think? It's not your thing. Is this not your thing for the sustainability? You have to think through what is their bad aspect by their part. And also, do they have knowledge or the good aspect enough or not? In reality, is based on that. This is not only for the, you know, it's kind of like a how to engage. I think everyone understands how to engage already. Okay, let me show you one thing, and please tell me what it is, sir, madam, miss. Mobile phone. What you will say? I'm not ask you. You will see. Sorry, miss. What you see? What you see in this part? I know this is a mobile phone. Just say what you see.
Metal.
Metal. You say metal, plastic. And why I see myself? Why I see my kitty cat? Why? It's a different. See, it's only same thing. It's a cell phone. So whenever you work for the sustainability, it is not scientific only, but you have to understand well about the scientific. But this is the way, and I would like to you guys to see something from the Mr. McWell say a long time, and this is a several on the TikTok right now. The people want to change if they heard enough. The people want to change if they're able enough. The people want to change if they learn enough, knowledgeable enough. So this is I want to explain for the last. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kat. And Khun Dev, final words.
I think you know, if we look from see, academic and practicality has to go together, right? And of course, somebody talked about enabler as well, right? Being government bodies where there is a long-term combination of bringing it together. Now, when we talk about practicality, yes, the leader looks to it, but the leader doesn't know everything. And I will admit that I know very less. And I know very less, and I want to learn to help, right? But the biggest challenge I think we face is how do we have everybody in the organization, as well as the consumer, accepting that there's a lot we don't know and we can learn. Mm-hmm. So the culture transformation starts from that mindset. And when we talk about research or we talk about what we can do, is, to me, if I look at the biggest challenge we face within the organization is culture transformation. It's a journey, it's a never-ending journey. But to be able to do the culture transformation, how do we move people with fixed mindset to growth mindset? Mm-hmm. It's not about 100% move. And people sometimes think, and they talk to me very linear. So does that person have fixed mindset or growth mindset? I said, it's about which side you're more towards. There are certain things you have fixed, I understand, but it's about where you lean towards. If you have more of a growth mindset, and the more of our organization moves toward that land, an idea of how we can shift people's mindset, to me, is the biggest challenge. And if we can track that, I think that will help speed up everything we want to do right.
Wonderful, great place to start to finish, and also to start our journeys beyond this door. So I think maybe to sum up what everybody has just shared with us, it's a diversity and possibility of knowledge in collaboration that is going to take us forward in building cultures of transformation, sustainability transformation. So that brings us to the end of our session today. I hope that we have met our goal of taking you from research to results, and from results back to research, and continuing that kind of circular economy. So thank you very much for your attention today. Thank you for our esteemed panelists today. Thank you, Ka.
Thank you very much, Kap. For this occasion, I like to invite again Dr. Anthony to give the token of appreciation for Khun Kitiya and Khun Rajdev ครับ
Thank you very much.
Next, lastly, I'd like to ask for Dr. Anthony for the closing remarks for today's event ครับ คุณโทนี่
I didn't plan for it. I'm just going to sit. I didn't plan to provide any major opening remarks, but having sat through, this afternoon, I'd like to say a few things because I took down some notes. Firstly, I think the discussion today was immensely useful for me. I didn't expect it to be so illuminating for myself because of, I think maybe thank you for Khun Waewkanee and Khun Monridi in organizing this, because everything came across quite tightly knit, starting from the very beginning of the keynote speaker by Eklada Hotel, because I think that set the stage on identifying certain values. And I know you started with the sufficiency economy paradigm, but I'd like to also share you with that in the last month or so, I've had several discussions like this. In addition to the sufficiency economy, I was informed that in the Philippines, they have various concepts and values like this. I tried to think, discarte, I think it's like mindfulness. Discarte, there are no Filipinos here. But they also have key words like discarte in their EPR, because this links to how do we sell it to people outside, people on the road, people, consumers, and our stakeholders. I was informed also in Vietnam, they also have issues of, they call it Tích Chu. Tích Chu is a terminology, if you look in Wikipedia, of resourcefulness. It's a value, and these all relate to circularity. Pho Piang, right, as we all know. But also in the south of Thailand, Malaysia, and Indonesia, they talk about Kesadaran. You can look up in their transcripts and in the Sanskrit, of what Kesadar. And even Supak, I think, is an idea in Malaysia. They say, I was informed by the president of the Islamic University, said, Supak, we've been doing this for 1,000 years. Go look it up. I'm setting up a working group on that. Or Sechatara is another Indonesian concept. All of these concepts, I think, we all here are from ASEAN. Most of us are from ASEAN. We have a wealth of concepts and values that are related to sustainability, and I think my hope is that it's certainly been achieved already. I think that we have a powerhouse here, in CMMU that we should cherish. Start now, and I think with our alumni, we can carry on this work and be the message of ASEAN. Because when we talk about EPR or sustainability or ESG and all of these things, I'm new to this, but but my reaction is that a lot of these are principles and values that EPI, you know, I just learned it came from Thomas Lindquist in 1990. I could be wrong. Thomas Lindquist in 1991 talks about resourcefulness, moderation, resilience. Oh, that sounds a bit like SCP, you know, or all of the other concepts. As a person who has talked a lot to European dialogue partners within ASEAN, I don't think they know that, and I think this is our job to communicate to them. We have these views, these cultures. So I would really like to inspire you to continue this. And I did not know a lot of, you know, Khun Narong, you know, and all of that. That I didn't know that you were that inspired, you know. And I think you give hope, I think, for all of us here. And I was quite surprised that when we talk about corporations and business schools and things like that, the ideas of culture, the ideas of personalize, the ideas of CEO walking the talk, walking the walk, walking the talk, you know, and setting an example. You know, I was at an Indonesian, climate change conference a few months ago. It was climate change, and I said, I mean, I'm new to this, and I was quite surprised that, you know, in the program they said, you know, they're how to travel there and things like that. And one of the programs says, if you're climate change conference organized by the Indonesian Chamber of Commerce and the government of Indonesia. The program said, oh, if you're flying your private airplane, here are the procedures. You know, don't go to Jakarta Sukarno Airport. Go to this, you know, here, you know. And I thought, and there were people that went there with. They're not they're not walking the talk. They're not, you know, they're not setting leadership. They're not doing you know, personalizing. So thank you, Rajdev, for personalizing this. And I think it's something that it's quite simple, you know. And I was thinking of an old 1960s song that says, you can't even run your own life. I'll be damned if you'll run mine. Yeah, I'm not sure. You search that on Google. It's a simple song, but it's a straightforward message. You know, talking about I forget the artist, but yeah, it's a straightforward. Now I would like to say, and also shifting people's mindset, you know, which is a challenge. I didn't expect from. I'm not a businessman. I look like one, but I'm not. But shifting people's mindsets, and that means shifting, you know, top management and setting a good example. Finally, I'd just like to say to our students out there that we have supported that the only good thesis or PhD dissertation is a completed one. Okay? All right. So you may have to make some sacrifices, but please finish it, because if you don't, I mean, from experience, I have some of my friends that have not completed it, and it can be a scar on your life. And I think we learned from today. How do you finish it? You have to be resilient, right? You have to be determined, and you have to endurance. Okay, stickability. You don't have to be smart. I'm just telling you personally. You don't have. You don't have to be smart, but you have to be, you know, endurance. You have to stickability. So with that, you know, I'd like to thank you, everybody here, and there certainly was a pleasure. ขอบคุณมากครับ
Thank you ครับ Dr. Anthony